Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to show you guys this nice soft glam look using the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I love this palette so much. And as you guys know, summer is here and so is wedding season. So I want to show you guys a nice soft glam look that you guys can wear on a summer night out, at a wedding, or wherever you guys want. So I hope this is something you're interested in, and please keep on watching. Okay, you guys, so the first and most important thing before doing any type of eye look, it really doesn't matter if you do full glam or a heavy eye. The most important thing, even if you do a natural eye, is to always start out using an eyeshadow primer first and set it with some type of powder. It can be a loose setting powder, it can be an eyeshadow powder, but it's just such an important step when applying any type of eyeshadow. It just makes the eyeshadow last all day long. And again, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're just going in with a few neutral shades or if you're doing a full glam look. It just makes the eyeshadow stay on all day long, so it's super important. I'm gonna go in with my one and only. This is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance eyeshadow primer, and I have been using this baby for years. I love this primer so much. It's sold at Sephora, I believe it's $20-something, and I've honestly been using this for years. It doesn't matter if I wear eyeshadow for 4 hours or 14 hours, it stays put all night long. I literally, if I had to, I could fall asleep with it and wake up the next day and my eyeshadow would still look flawless. And I always apply this with my finger. You can use a brush as well. I just prefer using my finger for this. And I just give it a light coat. Make sure you really even it out. Don't let it just sit there and get clumpy before it dries. So, and not go all the way in. And also kind of like feather it out at the edges. Make sure that there are no like harsh lines. And then I pat it down dry with another finger. I cannot stress enough how important an eyeshadow primer is. You can also use a concealer. Somebody, if you don't want to spend money on a primer, you can use a concealer and do the same as I'm doing now. Concealers work fine, it's just a matter of preference. And again, you can use a neutral bone colored shadow or a loose powder. I just personally prefer a loose powder to set it. That, you can obviously see all the powder. There you go, and now we have the base set and we are ready to go in with some eyeshadow. So today, like I said, we're gonna do a pretty natural glam look. It's still gonna be glam, we're just gonna tone it down a notch, maybe skip a couple of steps, and just keep it nice and light. But for today's look, I'm gonna be using the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have used this palette so much. I love this palette. It just has everything that you could want. You can do so many different looks with this palette. The shadows are amazing, but yeah, that's the palette that I'm gonna be using today. So the first color we're going in with is this one as a transition shade, and that's called Burnt Orange. And as per usual, we are just laying that down in the crease and just buffing it out. And with this, you don't have to be so precise. It can basically almost cover the whole eye. It just, you want to have that little bit of definition to start out with. And honestly, these type of colors I always go in with to begin with. Even if I do a very dramatic look, I always go in with a shade like this. And for the second transition shade, I am dipping into this one called Raw Sienna. Such a great color. I love this color so much. I am using the same brush. Oh, and by the way, I am using a Morphe E27, and that's for both of those colors. And we're basically doing the same to this one. I'm just not going up as high. And for the lid, we're going in with this shade right here, this shimmery shade called Primavera. And I'm gonna apply that using my pinky. And that's just like a pretty golden shimmer. And I'm gonna use my finger. Sometimes if I really wanted this shadow to pop, I would apply it with a brush that I wet with some MAC Fix Plus, just to make the eyeshadow like really stand out. But for this particular look, I don't want it to be too harsh or too shimmery right now. I want it to be pretty soft. So it still gives you that fair amount of shimmer peeking through, and I basically lay that down more or less on the entire lid. Really pretty. And just to deepen up the outer corner a little bit, I'm dipping into this shade right here called Cypress Umber, and I'm using the Anastasia brush, this end right here that actually came with the palette, and this is one of my favorite brushes for the outer corner. So like I said, I'm dipping into Cypress Umber. Very careful because it's super pigmented and it is a dark shade, so I don't want to go too heavy. I just want a little bit to give a little definition and darken up the outer corner. Like I said, I'm definitely going in very light-handed and it's still very pigmented. So I wanted to deepen it up a little bit. And we're gonna drag it in just a tiny bit to just kind of blend them all together. Again, when you're doing darker shades, it's much better to go in and apply 2 or 3 coats if you need it and just build it up versus going in too heavy and you're just gonna be left with all that eyeshadow and nowhere to like place it or blend it out, and it's gonna be all over. So just keep that in mind when working with darker shades, especially when you're doing a softer look and you don't want it to be too overpowering. And then I'm going back into that Morphe E27 that we used for the crease, and I'm just running that over once again to kind of like blend them together. Just going back into Primavera and adding a little bit more of that to the center. Okay, you guys, and the next step, of course, is optional. I'm gonna go ahead and apply a gel liner, and I do that because I do want to wear lashes. I personally love wearing lashes. I think it just makes the look, but you can totally rock this look without wearing lashes. You can do a liner and some mascara. You can skip the liner if you want to keep it even softer. I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little bit of black liner, and I'm using this black gel liner by Pretty Vulgar, and I'm using a liner brush by the brand Aesthetica. Like I said, I mostly apply the eyeliner to hide the lash band. Of course, it also gives you a nice definition. But I'm gonna keep it medium. I'm not gonna go too thick with it. For lashes, I'm going to be wearing Black Magic by Violet Voss. And this is what they look like, nice and wispy. I like these lashes a lot. I've worn them many, many times. Not this particular pair, but this kind. And I like them a lot because they're nice and black and they do bring a little bit of drama. They're definitely a little bit dramatic, but not too overwhelming, not too long, not too thick. I actually like them a lot and I get a lot of compliments when I wear them going out. So I do think that this is a nice lash. You can go lighter if you want. You can even just do a natural lash on the corner. You can do a half lash. You can do individual lashes, whatever floats your boat. But I'm gonna be using these today. And as per usual, I am gonna be using my Duo Clear Adhesive to applying my lashes. When it comes to applying lashes, it's important that you just put the right amount of glue, honestly. Like if you put too little, they don't stick. If you put too much, it's gonna be a sloppy mess. Another little trick when applying lashes, even though I wear a clear adhesive, sometimes it doesn't dry down completely black. So I like to always go over it with a black liner just to make sure that the glue isn't peeking through. And I always do the same on the bottom right here because sometimes you'll see that little bit of glue peeking through. Make it nice and black. And for those of you who want to skip the lashes, you're just going to apply a coat of mascara, as will I. I'm just going to mostly do it to blend in my natural lashes with the falsies. Lashes are on and the eyes are more or less done. We just got to finish off, of course, on the under eyes, but this look is super simple. We only applied 4 eyeshadows and then the lashes, and it honestly takes like 5 minutes. So it's pretty simple and it's still glam and nice and soft enough and drama enough, perfect in between. And moving on to prime my face, I am using the Too Faced Hangover primer. You guys already know this is my favorite. I usually do like 2 little pumps and I apply that all over my face. Don't worry, when you rub your face, it always gets red like it looks right now, and that goes away in a matter of a minute. Just put that everywhere to be nice and hydrated. For whatever reason, I feel like it's necessary to do this. We all have those weird things we do that we pretend in our head it's necessary or makes it better. Okay, and I like to wait until it gets a little bit tacky. And for foundation today, I'm gonna use my favorite at the moment, actually for a long time now. I'm gonna use my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. I honestly love to wear this foundation when I go out for a night out because I think it's just the right amount. It's not too full coverage, it's medium coverage. You can build it up to full coverage. I also find that this stays a little bit more put. In areas where I tend to get a little bit dewy throughout the night, I find that this foundation just lasts a little bit longer. But yes, this is one of my favorite foundations, honestly, of all time. I use about two pumps. And of course, I apply that. Whoa, is there here? And I apply that to my face. I also feel that this color is just really good for me. Like, you know how sometimes we love a foundation, but the color is just not right there. You just can't find your perfect color. Oh, that happens a lot. And it's so frustrating sometimes when you really, and we're gonna use the Beauty Blender, of course, to blend that out. And it's so frustrating, like I said, if you find a foundation that, I just need a little bit of a mirror. When you find a foundation that you really like and you just can't find your color or they don't have your color, that happens a lot. But this foundation, I just find it's the perfect match for me. Never forget your ears and underneath your neck. You don't want that line. For concealer, I am using the Tarte Shape Tape. I am in the shade Light Neutral and I'm gonna go really light. This particular concealer is so great and so creamy and it blends like a dream. Therefore, you need so little. Even when you want to go really heavy with your concealer, this concealer goes a long way. I don't have really dark circles, so I don't like to apply a lot of concealer. I find it to just crease even worse when you do. I'm gonna blend that out with the same Beauty Blender. Drag it down a little bit to the sides of my nose. And that really is all you need to brighten up this under eye area. Just make sure that it's nice and blended, that there are no creases. Sometimes I bake the under eye, but more often I don't because I tend to be a little bit more dry on my under eye. So baking will definitely emphasize your dry spots. So for those of you who have really dry under eyes, I don't recommend baking. And if you do, just let it sit for a minute and just dust it off. So now that our under eyes are set and ready, we're gonna go back into our palette. We're going back into that first shade right here called Burnt Orange. And I'm using the Morphe E36. It's just a small fluffy brush. I am tapping that into Burnt Orange and dragging that under the eye back and forth. Again, with softer looks, you don't want to go too dark on the under eye either. We're just repeating the steps that we did on the top. But I do find it's important to never leave your under eye completely bare. You just need a little definition to match the top. Next up, we're going into Raw Sienna using the same brush and going right over top. I love this color. I don't know why. I always find myself loving those pukey browns. And I don't know what other words to use, honestly, than a pukey brown. I just love it. I am switching up to a flat definer brush. This is the Morphe G28. And I'm using that for that dark brown color right here, the Cypress Umber. And I'm using this because I don't want it to be everywhere. I want it to be pretty precise and leave that at the outer corner. So I'm using that for that, because I really don't want that to go everywhere. I just want to darken up the outer corner the way we did on the top. And I'm taking that fluffy brush to blend it out. It's just better to do it this way, to go in with the color and put it where you want and then start buffing it out, versus using a fluffy brush like this and you start buffing it out and it becomes a little bit more messy, which is fine for certain looks, but not this particular look. So this way we lay down the color and it stays nice and put on the outer corner where we want it. And now, of course, we're just gonna apply a coat of mascara to our bottom lashes. A quick little tip, you can tell that I totally messed up on the mascara right here underneath my eye. So the trick is to just let it sit, let it completely dry down, and then take a Q-tip and it will just come off. Versus me taking a Q-tip right now and trying to just take it away. It's just gonna smudge it all out and I'm gonna be left with a black under eye, and nobody wants that. So just to point out, yes, I am aware that I have mascara under my eye. I'm gonna leave it on for now so I can take it off nice and easy in a few minutes. I'm just gonna set my entire face with some translucent powder. This one is by RCMA. I just put it into this little cab and I love this powder. I need to set my entire face. Number one, it just sets the whole foundation down and it keeps it nice and intact for most of the day. And also I think other powders, bronzers and blushes and stuff go over top better this way. And for a more dramatic glam, this is where I usually would go in and contour. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to contour using bronzer, which is going to be a little bit more of a softer contour versus a cooler shade, which is what I would do right now. I would lay down a contour right here in the hollows of the cheeks. It's just going to give you a more defined look, a more sucked in look. But today I'm going to contour using a bronzer, which is going to give you a little bit of the same effect. It's just going to be a lot softer. And I'm using my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer on a Morphe R2 brush, and I just do that right there, and I will lay that down right here. Blend it out. I drag it all around my hairline. And again, with this, you don't have to be as precise because we will clean it up, of course, just to give you an overall glow. And for blush, I'm using Luminoso by Milani on a Morphe E4 brush, And we're just gonna make that face. I don't know how to explain this face. I always tell people, give me this face, and then I have to say that sound, but for some reason people seem to get it. So, and we're gonna just drag that up a little bit, nice and soft, on the apples of the cheek. There we go. And to clean that up, of course, you already know, we need to do a little bit of baking. So I'm dipping in this Ankle Beauty Blender. And I'm dragging that up my cheek and down. And if you're new to my channel, you'll be seeing this a lot because I always do this. And now I'm gonna have powder everywhere. There you go. And this again also cleans up that contour and makes it nice and sharp. And to highlight, I'm gonna go in with one of my favorite highlighters. I always use this on a no makeup day or a light makeup day or a little bit of glam makeup day like today. And that's the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. I love this highlighter so much. It's so nice. It's so natural. I find on days where you're trying to do a natural glam, it's nicer to go in with a softer glow. Everything kind of has to be a cohesive look. It has to match each other. So I don't find that a blinding highlight is going to go well with this look. So I'm going to dip into that and leave that right here. I'm just going to use a little bit to the tip of my nose. And we're also going to use just a tiny little bit to our brow bone. And lastly, of course, I'm going to let this sit to bake for another minute or two. I'm going to dust it away. I'm going to remove, I didn't forget, I'm going to remove the mascara underneath my eyes, and I will be back. Okay guys, this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this soft glam tutorial. Really quickly, I wanted to mention what I'm wearing on my lips. I'm wearing the Han lip gloss in the shade Nude Rose. I just think that it complements the look. I didn't want to go in with too much of a color. I just wanted to keep it nice and soft and flirty and what else? Soft. I said soft. I just wanted to add a little bit of color to my lips, and I think that a nice gloss will do, just like this one. Just keep it nice and natural, and it just gives a little bit of pop to your lips. So yeah, you guys, as always, if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Other than that, have a great day or night wherever you guys are, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Okay. Why can't I say using? Why can't I say using? It's not losing, it's using. Hi guys.